Hello, Life Sparkers. We are here today with my dear friend Lois, and she is going to tell you so many amazing things about herself. But I want to start by introducing her and let you all know how we met and how I know her. And I will try to do that without crying.
Don't make me cry.
I know. So I met you because I was taking care of my father in law as he was passing away, and you came in as my nighttime relief person. And it was a tough time for all of us. You and I became friends and are friends because you inspired me from the beginning. You were the most patient, loving, calm, caring, inspirational person to come into the situation that I could ever have imagined. And over that time, I had the blessing of getting to know you. And from the beginning, you just had a tenderness about you. Your faith just shined. The way that you brought that kind of peace into the situation. And I have now had the opportunity for almost 2 years to watch you live your life. And I just feel like that your story is a story that needs to be told. And you are someone that exemplifies so much of what so many of us are seeking and want in our own lives. And that kind of peace and um, calmness while you are consistently moving forward and consistently reaching your goals and consistently stretching yourself, working multiple jobs, doing whatever you have to do that, but always maintaining your faith and your calmness and your love for other people. And that, my dear, is such an inspiration to me, and I know it will be to anyone listening to this message. So let's start with the fact that you came here from your country of Kenya. And I want to know from you your story, your journey, how you got here. And I want to thank you for blessing me and our family. So let's start there.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Crystal. I first of all appreciate you for giving me this chance to interview me on your platform. I really don't take it for granted because even before I knew you, you had so many people that you could have decided to interview them, but just picking me alone, that's an honor to me. I feel I'm so very grateful, and I thank you and thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really touches me. Even when you approached me, I was like, oh my God, what did I ever do to deserve this? But anyway, God knows why you chose me among so many people. And that's why I decided to take it on hold and just share what you want me to share. Crystal has just given a brief story on how we met. We met at a very difficult situation for her and her family, and for me as a human being, not as a professional. As a human being, it was a very difficult time, but we still had to hold on to our confidence and keep of holding. And I had to be there for them as a family because I was working. But for them, it was more challenging. But I don't want to separate myself as much as it was a career. It was also, I'm a human being and I have emotions and feelings and I have to deal with them. Well, now, just to take you back, what brought me here? I can say, and this is something that Crystal asked me when I first met her, how I got here. I had a very beautiful career back in my country in Kenya, and there was nothing more that I would wish for. But there's one thing that I was lucky. I was in a long distance marriage. And so one of us had to take the sacrifice. And I kind of also wanted to have a different environment and a different work environment from the one that I was used to. Let me say that. I was comfortable there. I never lacked my basic needs. I always got what I wanted. And I said I had a very nice job, well paying, that catered for me and my family. And I had all that I needed. God had blessed me. But with a long distance marriage, it comes a time when one has to decide, for how long does this continue? Because God gave you a spouse with a reason and a purpose. And if you're not really meeting that purpose and reason, I don't think that you still deserve the blessings that God has already given you. And so that is a question I asked myself. And so I decided to sacrifice myself. I left my career and moved to USA to join my husband together with my daughter. And one thing I can say, I got all kind of shocks. One of them was the culture shock and also the professional shock. Because as much as I wanted a career within my field, it was hard for me to do that. And so I had to start from somewhere because I needed to meet my daily needs and also not just depend on my husband. I also needed something that I can call on my own. As a woman who was independent, I needed to continue having that pride, knowing that I can buy myself, I can buy my family a meal. And so, well, I had a career as a legal assistant. And also, because that would not be enough, I had to supplement my income by working as a caregiver. And that's how I landed to meet Crystal. And so I had to change my career, and that's how I started working as a caregiver. And that's how I ended up meeting Crystal because I was taking care of her dad when he was in hospice. It was emotional, but I can tell you for a fact, I met a family that welcomed me despite my weaknesses, because as a human beings, we are not perfect. I know I have my weaknesses, but I decided to give it all what I had to do because I asked for a job and I've been given a job, but I had to do it. And I always appreciate Crystal and her family, her mother in law, her sister in law. I really appreciate them because they did not look me as an employee, they looked at me as part of and parcel of their family. That is one thing I like about that. Okay.
So, tell me what you would have done differently in your life. Like at this point, you have a beautiful daughter, you have a great life. Is there anything that you would have done differently to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, I think there's some things that I would have done differently. And one of the things that I always say, even after I came into this country, after relocating to this country and having found what I found and not as the way I expected things to be, because they say we are going to the country of honey and milk or green pastures, but I did not find the pastures as green as I thought, because they kind of withered. Because if here I have to work multiple jobs, I have to have no time for myself, no time for my family. I realized that this is not the honey and milk that I was looking for. So, and I think one of the mistakes that I made, or rather, I can say one thing that I did not do at the beginning, I did not believe in myself. I had a lot of self doubt. And so that's why I literally jumped into caregiving before looking for a job at first. Because apparently, the job that I hold right now, when I applied for that job and got interviewed, I asked myself, why didn't I do this at the beginning? But because I can say I listened to so much of the background noise, which in other words, I call naysayers, because what they said is that with your papers, your professional background, and all the experience that you've had in the past in a different country, in your home country, cannot be considered in this country. But I can tell you for a fact, those were just naysayers, because I got in with that experience and with that without having going back to school, and they hired me. And so I think what I'm trying to say is this: first of all, do your own due diligence and ask yourself, is this what I'm getting, or the information that I'm getting, is it for really for a fact that's the way things are on the ground? Because when you don't get to do your due diligence, you don't get to get the facts, you don't get to know what exactly you're getting yourself into, because you're only acting on hearsay, not on what you've done. Because if I decided to dwell on the hearsay, I wouldn't be where I am right now. And also, apart from that, I also run an online business. And when I started that business, I can tell you I wasn't an online person. And when I started the online business, everybody was telling me this is not something that you can do. You need to have a lot of followers. You need to be confident. But I can tell you that is not the case. We get to grow as we go by. You don't, even when you start something, you're not an expert in it. You just get to grow as you go by. And so that is something that I've learned, that I should not listen to naysayers, or rather the background noise. I should do my own due diligence, make my own informed decision on what is best for me.
I love that because that is so true about everything in life, whether it's our career or whatever. Like, no one knows better for you than you. So, I talk a lot about intuition and how important it is to just listen to that still small voice that's in you, because I believe that God is telling you and your gut is telling you what is right for you. And it's having the confidence to execute that I think is sometimes the issue. So, how did you get confident? How do you maintain your confidence?
Wow, that's a very good question. That's a very good question, Crystal. And I say, let me tell you one thing. It's not, it's, everything is gradual, everything that you do. And I'm saying this from my own experience. And when I say that is because right now you can see a very composed person, a very somebody is very much smiling and that can talk and talk and talk. I'm not a motivational speaker. I am not a public speaker, but this is something that I've grown along the way. And how have I grown? One of the things that I've grown is by learning from my mistakes. And so I use my mistakes as a stepping stones. And so some of my mistakes, and when I say that, what I'm saying is I've told you that I run an online business and I have to go on camera at times, I have to do videos, I have to go live. And when I do started doing my first go live, oh my god, if you watch that video, I watched that video and I laughed to myself. But I say it was my first video, but all is not lost, because it taught me how to do it differently. So gradually I've been
Yes.
able to do that. I have kind of started to decide that I'm going to use my challenges and to make them as my stepping stones and move forward, and also not have that self doubt, not doubting myself that I cannot do this, because we are all equal. We have two hearts, two eyes, and if somebody else can do it, I cannot do it. I'm not trying to compare myself with anybody. I'm just saying, it's, you just have to tell yourself it's doable, because the minute you say it's not doable, I can't do this, it's all in the mindset. Just tell yourself, I can do this and I'll give it my best shot. And when you do that, I'm telling you, you don't, it just flows with time.
Yes. And where
Yes.
does that come from? Would you say that that comes from your faith? Does that come from your um, relationship? Does that, because I believe that we maintain our confidence through connection and connection with other people. Like, what is your motivation? There's something in you. Is it that you want to be the best example to your daughter? Like, something inside of you drives that behavior. What is that for you?
Okay, that's thank you so much, Christopher, for that question. One of the things I can tell you, my best cheerleader is my daughter. And she, because, and I'll tell you, when I started doing this go live, she would listen to me and she tells me, Mom, you can do this. Go. Because even when I try to do a video and I tell her I don't think it's nice, I delete it. She tells me, No, Mom, don't delete it.
That's
She keeps
awesome.
me going. And I can say, also one thing that I've learned along the way, this is something that I didn't know, but there's a way along your life, there's some things that you do and you're like, you try to flash back and you're like, yeah, I think I would hear my parents say this and say that. And one of the thing is, my mom was a teacher, so she had a lot of confidence to stand in front of people. My dad was a lecturer in a college, and he would start a lot, so many people. And so most of the time when I do these videos and when I would think about them, I decided that they are going to be my role model. But I also want to give so much credit to my business partners, because I do have business partners who nurtured me into going go live. And all what they did, they would host me. And they told me, the one of them one day gave me a challenge and told me, I want you to host now. It's very easy. I believe in you. The way you do it when I host you, you can also do it and you're the host. So when she gave me that challenge and I did it for the first time, and I was like, oh, it's doable. So
Yes,
you just have to believe in yourself, because I believe it's only us who create for ourselves any limitations that we have.
I
But
agree.
it's yeah, but you just have to work over it, and day by day, and you find yourself, you are there. Cultivate that self-awareness,
Yep.
enjoy yourself, and also take care of yourself and love what you do.
Love it. What are you striving for now? What's next for you? How are you going to go into 2025, into this year of new opportunity? What does that look like for you?
Okay. Well, this year is 2025, and five has got a very big significant even in the Bible. And if there's something that I'm striving for financial and time freedom, because I need to live according to my own terms, control my time, and live according to the way I want, set my own schedule, and I believe and I see it's achievable. I believe it's achievable.
I love that. So who are you a hero to besides your daughter? Because you've been a hero to me, I can tell you that.
Wow, wow. I have had several comments from my business partners and tell me, yes, you changed my life. You changed the way I look at things. So I believe I'm kind of a hero to them. And besides my daughter and beside Crystal, I think I'm also a colleague, a hero to some of my coworkers whom I have had a chance to train them. And I hear them making comments and say, yeah, you really motivated me to keep going and to stay in this job, because when you start a new job, it's not easy. Let me tell you, it's not easy getting to understand how to move from one place to another. But when you help somebody and they're able to navigate through the whole thing, you feel good even yourself. When somebody says, if it were not for Lois, I would not be wherever I am. It makes me feel good. They may not say it directly to me, but just hearing it from a third party makes me know that I'm a hero to somebody else.
Love
And
it.
my dad always used to tell us, service to humanity is service to God. So I feel I should always serve people and make them feel good and give them a smile every day, because when you give somebody a smile, you make their day.
Well, you have that down, girl. You just, you do. You have such an exuberant joy that comes from you. And that is contagious, and it is a blessing, and it is something that makes every day for everyone around you better. I often have a saying that the truth always lies in the anticipation, and I always knew the nights that you were going to be there. I just so looked forward to you coming, for so many reasons, but partly it was because you were like a beacon walking in the door, bringing in joy and love and compassion to a very difficult situation. And that truth about you, and I think that's why we became friends, is because you just have it in you. It just comes out from you. I remember when we were in the middle of all of that, your country was in tremendous flooding. There was horrific things happening to your people, and you kept your faith and you continued to say, God has a plan, and I live by that. Even in incredible hardship of people losing so much in your home country. So thank you for being you. That's really what I wanted to say. Tell me about the best advice that you were ever given, because somebody did something um, that just, you know, the light that you are in the world today came from somewhere. So what the best advice that you've ever gotten? Tell us about that.
Well, I've gotten a lot of advice, but I want to say this one was not an advice from an individual. This was an advice from a book that I read. And this is a book that I was reading because I needed to have self development in myself. And I needed because I believe in life, we are all in a learning process. And if you need to grow your mind, you have to make sure that you challenge yourself every day. You learn something new, because I think there's somebody who said that every day is a learning day, and when you learn something new, that applies to yourself. It's kind of and so there's this book that I was reading, and they said never give up on a bad day, and never give up on your dreams. And so that is something that I constantly reminds me every time when I'm about to give up on something. Because, as I've told you, I'm an online business owner. The online space is not the best to be. You're going to get all negative comments. You're going to get
Mm-hmm.
all those people who try to pull you down. But if you listen to them, you can easily give up.
Yep.
But if you have any time when that thought has come into my mind, I've always told myself, if you do that, you're giving up on your life, you're giving up on your dreams, and you're not going to achieve whatever you're going to achieve. Those comments are just trying to delay you down, and they're not going to help you pay your bills. They're not going to help you have the financial freedom or the time freedom that you're looking for. So don't give up. Keep moving a day at a time, make a step at a time, because a journey of 1,000 miles start with a single step. So make the next step and get moving.
I love that. And I think that that's something that I definitely learned from you, even in that, like, there were days that, we were really like, could death come soon, please? Like, that was literally a life and death situation. And there were so many days that we were praying that death would just come. And then you would come in and just remind us that we're not in charge, and it's a day at a time and a step at a time, and we're going to learn even in this today. And I learned so much in that experience from in so many ways. You were a big part of that, but it really just your one foot in front of the other approach really taught me in a really hard situation how to just take a step back from my own fear and from my own anxiety and all of the demons in my head that just wanted to speak darkness over the situation, to just stay in love and to stay in faith and to stay in peace, and it will all work out. And sure enough, it did. It was a beautiful ending, and a very full of love and light and wonderful. um, it's a moment that I will remember forever. So, thank you for helping me prepare for that in a way that I probably would not have been prepared for otherwise. So,
Yeah, Crystal, you just reminded me something, because fear is something that can really stop us from getting to wherever you want. And if you'd allow me just to say that even the Bible says that I've not given you the spirit of fear, but I've given you the spirit of love. So when we get to fear, we It blocks us from achieving what we really want to achieve, and it always make us see that things are going to crumble down, because I know that was a very tough situation for you and your family members. But I did not tell you that you should not fear, or I did not try to create an atmosphere of where things are going to be all right, because that's the way it was. I just needed to be there for you and show you that even whatever the circumstances that you are in, there's
Mhm.
still love within you. And that is one
Yes.
thing that I saw in your family, because as much as you had somebody who was transiting to death, you people, you are so united with love. You're there for
Yes.
each other, and you're also there, and you held each other hard, and you always trusted in God that everything at the end of it all will be there. I was just there as, like I say, an instrument, just to make sure that for you to see there's still something at the end of the tunnel. Something good will
Yes.
come out of it. Yeah.
Yes. And it did. So we are getting near the end of our time together today, but I do want to know what your best advice that you would give your entire life, your life. My experience with you as a friend was as a caregiver, and that's how I met you. And I see you as a caregiver because you're a great caregiver to me or anyone that you love. But you are a beautiful woman, and you are you have such huge goals and expectations of yourself of being the best that you can possibly be in every area. And so, what advice would you give to our listeners today on one thing that they could do to really have a pivot or a shift in their own lives?
Okay. Well, we all have different aspirations in life. And as I started saying, it's all you who can give yourself the happiness that you want. Don't depend on anybody to give you the happiness that you need. The person you see when you look at the mirror is the person who holds the happiness to your life, nobody else. One of the things I want to tell anybody, and this I like basing my talks on the Bible because I'm a believer. I hope this is okay with you, Crystal, and also your audience. They say if you're given a job to sweep, sweep like you'll never sweep any before. You'll never sweep again. So what I'm trying to say is this: if you have something in hand for you to do it like you're doing it for the Lord. Don't do it because you're doing it for Christo who can see you. There's somebody else who can see you even when you do it in the darkness. So, whatever you get to do along your life, whether it's in your professional life, the people you meet along your life, treat them with kindness, because you may never know where your words will ever meet again. Because I can tell you, as much as we continue to be in touch, me and Crystal, now and then and again, I want you to ask your question. If I did not treat Crystal and her family well, do you think she would give me this opportunity? No, she would not have given me this opportunity, because she had nothing to learn from me, and she had nothing to look back at what I did to her. So, what I'm trying to say is this: any person that you meet along the way, may it be your colleague, may it be somebody you're working for, your employer, everything, make sure that you create an impact that you always be remembered in their life. An impact that you always be, they'll feel that Lois, when she came into my life, she put an impact in my life. And this is what I can remember about her. And that they can even refer you to somebody else. Anywhere you go. As my So many things may cost a thing. Well, Krista says mine is naturally, but just giving somebody a smile, it costs nothing. And in this world where there are so many things that are happening, just give somebody a smile. You may never know what they are going through, and you make their day that day when they get to see your smile. Thank you, Crystal.
Well, thank you so much. The show is about confidence, and I agree that confidence starts with a smile, and when you give it out, you tend to get it back. And so I love that. I love you. I thank you so much for everything that you do in the world to make the world a better place. So I love you for that, and I thank you for being a guest today. And I will look forward to talking to you soon.
Me too. I look forward to having many more with you. I really enjoyed this and I really appreciate that.